Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we continuing to read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7. We just finished chapter 12. Yudhishthir Maharaj had put question to Narad Muni, asking him the dharma of the different varnas and ashrams. So the duties of the different varnas. Narad Muni spoke in the 11th chapter, and in the 12th chapter he spoke about the duties of the different ashramas, specifically the brahmacharya and vanaprasth. So we are going to continue with chapter 13, the behavior of a perfect person. So we'll read the short summary first by Srila Prabhupada. This 13th chapter describes the regulative principles for sannyasis and also describes the history of an avadhut. It concludes with a description of perfection for the student in spiritual advancement. Sri Narad Muni has been describing the symptoms of various ashrams and varnas. Now, in this chapter, he specifically describes the regulative principles to be followed by sannyasis. After retiring from family life, one should accept the status of vanaprasth, in which he must formally accept the body as his means of existence, but gradually forget the bodily necessities of life. After vanaprasth life, having left home, one should travel to different places as a sannyasi. Without bodily comforts and free from dependence on anyone with respect to bodily necessities, one should travel everywhere, wearing almost nothing, or actually walking naked. Without association with ordinary human society, one should beg alms and always be satisfied in himself. One should be a friend to every living entity and be very peaceful in Krishna consciousness. A sannyasi should travel alone in this way, not caring for life or death, waiting for the time when he will leave this material body. He should not indulge in unnecessary books or adopt professions like astrology, nor should he try to become a great orator. He should also give up the path of unnecessary argument and should not depend on anyone under any circumstances. He should not try to allure people into becoming his disciples just so that the number of his disciples may increase. He should give up the habit of reading many books as a means of livelihood, and he should not attempt to increase the number of temples and mathas or monasteries. When a sannyasi thus becomes completely independent, peaceful, and equipoised, he can select the destination he desires after death and follow the principles by which to reach that destination. Although fully learned, he should always remain silent like a dumb person and travel like a restless child. In this regard, Narad Muni described a meeting between Prahlad and a saintly person who had adopted the mode of life of a python. In this way, he described the symptoms of a Paramhamsa. A person who has attained the Paramhamsa stage knows very well the distinction between matter and spirit. He is not at all interested in gratifying the material senses, for he is always deriving pleasure from devotional service to the Lord. He is not very anxious to protect his material body, being satisfied with whatever he attains by the grace of the Lord. He is completely independent of material happiness and distress, and thus he is transcendental to all regulative principles. Sometimes he accepts severe austerities, and sometimes he accepts material opulence. His only concern is to satisfy Krishna, and for that purpose he can do anything and everything without reference to the regulative principles. He is never to be equated with materialistic men, nor is he subject to the judgments of such men. So this was a brief summary. We'll go now text-wise. Text 1. Shri Narada Vacha
Narado Vachan
Kalpasva evam parivrijya
Kalpastva evam parivrajya
Deha matra vasheshitaha
Deha matra vasheshitaha
Grameka ratra vidhina
Grame karatra dina
Nirapekshas charin mahim.
Nirapekshastaren mahi.
Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Sri Narad Muni said, a person able to cultivate spiritual knowledge should renounce all material connections and merely keeping the body inhabitable. He should travel from one place to another, passing only one night in each village. In this way, without dependence in regard to the needs of the body, the sannyasi should travel all over the world. So for him to give up this bodily connection, depend on the Supreme Lord. Bibryat yadi asavasa
Vipryadyate asavasaha
kopi nachadanam param
Kopinachadanam param
tyaktam na linga dandadir
Yaktam na linga dandade
anyat kinchid anapade.
Anyat kinchit anapade.
A person in the renounced order of life may try to avoid even a dress to cover himself. If he wears anything at all, it should be only a loincloth. And when there is no necessity, a sannyasi should not even accept a danda. A sannyasi should avoid carrying anything but a danda and kamandalu. So not to have any possessions, renounced completely, only a danda and karmandalu. Okay. Eka eva charet bhikshur
Eka eva charet bhikshur
atma ramo napashrayah
Atmaramo anapashrayaha
sarva bhuta surich chanto
Sarvabhuta surachanto
narayana parayanaha.
Narayana parayanaha.
The sannyasi, completely satisfied in the self, should live on alms begged from door to door, not being dependent on any person or any place. He should always be a friendly well-wisher to all living beings and be a peaceful, unalloyed devotee of Narayan. In this way, he should move from one place to another. So who is Narad Muni speaking about? The duties of which
Sannyasi.
are sannyasi. Yeah, that's right. Pashyed Atmani Ado Vishwam
Pashedatmani ado vishvam
Pare Sad Asato Vyaye
Pare sad asato avyaye
Atmanam Cha Param Brahma
Atmanam cha param brahma
Sarvatra Sad Asanmaye.
Sarvatra sad asanmay.
The sannyasi should always try to see the Supreme pervading everything and see everything, including this universe, resting on the Supreme. Supti Prabodhayo Sandhav
Supti prabodhayo sandha
Atmanogatim Atmadrek
Atmano gatim atmadre
Pashyan Bandam Cha Moksham Cha
Pashyat bandam cha moksham cha
Maya Matram Na Vastutaha.
Maya matram navastutaha.
During unconsciousness and consciousness, and between the two, he should try to understand the self and be fully situated in the self. In this way, he should realize that the conditional and liberated stages of life are only illusory and not actually factual. With such a higher understanding, he should see only the absolute truth pervading everywhere. The unconscious state is nothing but ignorance, darkness, or material existence. And in the conscious state, one is awake. The marginal state between consciousness and unconsciousness has no permanent existence. Therefore, one who is advanced in understanding the self should understand that unconsciousness and consciousness are but illusions, for they fundamentally do not exist. Only the supreme absolute truth exists, as confirmed in the Lord in Bhagavad Gita 9.4. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagad avyakta murtina matstani sarva bhutani na chaham teshva avasthita. By me in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. Everything exists on the basis of Krishna's impersonal feature. Nothing can exist without Krishna. Therefore, the advanced devotee of Krishna can see the Lord everywhere without illusion. So everything is situated on the Brahman. That is the meaning of basis of Krishna's impersonal feature.
Hare
Everything is
Krishna.
there on the Brahman. Hare Krishna.
So here also they are saying the liberated stage is also illusion, right? And
Yeah,
has
I
no
was trying
permanent
to understand.
existence. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was trying to also go back and try to understand. So, okay.
yeah.
Um, Actually, if we see the pure soul, the consciousness, pure consciousness of the soul is always Krishna conscious. So I have heard or read rather somewhere, I can't remember, where Prabhupada does say that this is illusion that we are thinking, okay, I'm bound now and I'm liberated now. Because our constitutional position is actually servant of Krishna. So is that what is being said? That the conditional and liberated stages of life are only illusory and not actually factual. So but this means just like what I understand is when one thinks that I've merged into the Brahman. But the real liberation is when we can revive our relationship with Krishna. That is the real liberation. That is
Yes.
not illusion.
Yeah, they're talking in terms of body. They're saying that one who feels attached or unattached to body, that
Yeah.
is illusory and the not the fact. And what you're saying, self-realization, when one understands, the transit, their constitutional position as a servant of Krishna in loving relationship with Krishna, that is the real liberation, like you explained just now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. At
Mm.
least that's how I understand it.
Yeah, that is the real liberation. That's permanent.
Mm.
But this one, in relation with the body, when a person gets liberated, when we are not attached to material things, that's not the real liberation. We may still fall. It's not permanent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Right. Okay. Nabhi nande dhruvam mrityum
Nabhinande dhruvam mrityum
adhruvam vasya jivitam
adhruvam vasya jivitam
kalam param pratiksheta
kalam param pratisheta
bhutanam prabhavapayam.
bhutanam prabhavapyayam.
Since the material body is sure to be vanquished and the duration of one's life is not fixed, neither death nor life is to be praised. Rather, one should observe the eternal time factor in which the living entity manifests himself and disappears. The living entities in the material world, not only at the present but also in the past, have been involved in trying to solve the problem of birth and death. Some stress death and point to the illusory existence of everything material, whereas others stress life, trying to preserve it perpetually and enjoy it to the best of their ability. Both of them are fools and rascals. So one say, okay, enjoy life. You're living now. This is it. So enjoy how much ever you can. And another say, it's all false. Everything is false. So give it up. So, but both are not correct. It is advised that one observe the eternal time factor, which is the cause of the material body's appearance and disappearance, and that one observe the living entity's entanglement in this time factor. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur therefore sings in his Gita-Vali, Anadi karma phale padi bhavar navajale, tari bare na dekhi upay. One should observe the activities of eternal time, which is the cause of birth and death. Before the creation of the present millennium, the living entities were under the influence of the time factor. And within the time factor, the material world comes into existence and is again annihilated. Bhutva bhutva praliyate. Being under the control of the time factor, the living entities appear and die, life after life. This time factor is the impersonal representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who gives the living entities conditioned by material nature a chance to emerge from this nature by surrendering to Him. So some say enjoy life, this is it. Some say everything is false. But actually, as time, with time there is creation, there is maintenance, and there is dissolution. And time again we are born and then we die, and time again this is happening. So how to get out of this is surrender to Krishna. Krishna says that Devi hiya shagunamai mamaya duratyaya mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam taranti te. Time factor is impersonal representation of Supreme Lord. Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, time I am. Kal meets us as death at the end of life. So time factor was also spoken about when we heard about the creation in Bhagavatam. Yeah, that time.
And even
Time
Prahlad Maharaj
goes on
said,
along to the will of the Lord. I'm sorry?
no, you continue.
No, I'm sorry, you were saying?
Yeah,
Prahlad
even
Maharaj?
Prahlad Maharaj was also explaining this, right? Narad Muni, in a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the time factor is also represented as the supreme will of the Lord. Everything is happening as Lord's plan, as He ordains it. That's also how it is seen as the supreme sweet will of the Lord.
Yeah.
Any comments, questions?
Yeah. I remember you mentioning also not just, give up your activities and try to, cultivate spiritual knowledge around. Be around, do your things, and cultivate spiritual knowledge while you're doing your things from morning to evening. Be engaged in your activities, not just give up everything. This is the same thing what Prabhupada is explaining. Observe. One should observe living entities' entanglement in this time factor. That is what also he's trying to explain. We should be in this time factor, and we should continue to be in the activities. But yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Shilpa ji. So this is about the sannyasi, right? After he has lived his vanaprastha.
Yeah.
So like that is after
right.
75 when he is suggested, like this is like how he should live his life.
That's right. The sannyasi.
Right? Sannyasi. And then samadhi is after this, right? Or after the 8 stages of yoga.
Yeah, samadhi comes in the yoga. Yeah.
Samadhi comes in the yoga. Okay. And this is the life of a sannyasi, that how he should live, how he should control his self and what should be done, how he should be dressed. we just read previously that how he should be dressed, what he should be doing, right? So these are the lives of a sannyasi. Oh,
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Can we
alright.
quickly say two Hare Krishna and then we can
Yeah,
stop the
I'll.
class? Yeah.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shila Prabhupada
Jai.
ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you all so much